Hello and welcome to this week's Your Next Episode with me, Amy.
And me, Louise.
And today we are at my house in my lounge, so if you hear sort of dogs barking, cats meowing, that's where we are. And we're chatting to Arabella Preston, who's a makeup artist and co-founder of Votary skincare. Also, full disclosure, Ari and I met 20 years ago now.
We did.
Terrifying. Our first sort of grown-up job in London doing PR. So this is also a little sort of mini reunion. Hello and welcome, Arabella.
Hello. And it's funny you say grown up, because I think we were a real nightmare.
Yeah.
I was having a real giggle to myself in the car on the way here. Just all, the antics. And
Yes.
I think we must have been a nightmare to manage. I know we used to roll our eyes at our boss, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I think we were such ragamuffins.
We
weren't
were feral is what we were. Yeah. And nothing much has changed.
Pretty much all I can remember in Bermondsey for a
Yeah.
PR agency, and all I really remember about that job was the bacon sandwich station on that road that I used to pass pretty much every day with a horrible hangover.
Yeah.
Just to try and take the edge off whatever I've been up to. Yeah, we were 22 and living in London and spending all our money on going out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, because when you do meet somebody again and you look into their eyes and you're kind of like, oh my God, you're still 19 years old.
Yeah.
Obviously life has probably battered us all around a little bit and we've, got stories to tell and stuff, but we're
we used to sit right opposit each other.
We did,
stare at each other all day.
Yeah.
It's really weird to be sitting here now staring at you again.
We were normally getting bollocked by our boss, who was just, a bit of a
So I'll
tyrant.
be the boss today.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you a right bollocking if you misbehave, so watch it.
There's many tangents to go down today. Yeah.
I know, exactly. And that was back when you wouldn't walk down Bermondsey Street sort of at
Not
night.
at night, no.
It's changed so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm I'm really grateful for you sort of giving your time today and coming to
It's a total pleasure.
chat to us. So let's talk about Votary. So you when did you set up your skincare business?
So Votary has been going for coming up for 5 years. September it'll be 5 years. And I've had a few careers since I've known you. That was my first job in London. When I knew you, I worked on a magazine for a bit, and then I went in-house doing PR for a brand, which was a brand called Myla, and it was. I was in my mid-20s by that stage, and the office was in Notting Hill, and it was this very sort of, our office was in the same building as Richard Curtis's office.
Wow.
And it was this amazing kind of couple of years, and I was working there for two women, female founders, who set that business up. It was a very sort of high-end lingerie, and they actually made designer sex toys as well. So it was quite a wild time.
So you don't remember, but I actually came and I was like a fit model for you.
No, I do remember that. I do.
I didn't test out the sex toys, but I had a couple of lovely frilly thongs, which...
Have we got pictures?
I told you I overshare, Ari.
Probably.
If you could dig out those pictures for the gram.
But one of those women was Charlotte Semler, who is now my business partner. So we met, I worked for her, I did her PR marketing for 3 or 4 years. And then we pretty much all left that business. There was a sort of little change in leadership, and it went from being a female-led business to a sort of men in suits type business.
Right.
There was a bit of a mass walkout. And then she was just my friend, and she's always been a bit of a mentor. She was a few years ahead of me, having kids and all that. So then our sort of relationship changed, and she was the person I'd call and say, he won't eat. What do I do? And she's godmother to my little girl. And then we were all having lunch one day. All the Myla girls were all still in touch. And by that point, I'd become a makeup artist. When my daughter was a year old, I'd always wanted to do it. I was always the person organising shoots at Myla, and I'd be the person standing by the makeup table asking a million questions. And but somehow it was never the right time. And people, when I sort of mentioned it to people, they'd say, "Why do you want to change careers now? Just when things are sort of going in you're getting to a certain level." And then it was something about, it wasn't my daughter, it was my son, it was my first child. And when he was a year old, I just took myself off I booked a temporary nanny for 6 weeks, and I went off to London College of Fashion and just did a course. Because I sort of had the sense that if I just went and did it, then I could sort of say I've done it, and then I'd be on my way, and that turned out to be true. And people were kind and gave me little jobs that didn't matter too much on magazine. People I'd known in the industry, they'd say, "Well, we can get you to do that because you can't really screw that one up." And I started doing a lot of weddings. And then when my daughter, in between, I had another baby. And when my daughter was a year old, I met a makeup artist called Kay Montano. And Kay is just the most brilliant makeup artist. And she, she did those Kate Moss, Calvin Klein Obsession ads. And she was very sort of that 90s New York moment. That was all Kay. And when I met her, she was back living in London, and her career, she was sort of not doing the crazy fashion shows. She was doing celebrity work and kind of lovely magazine jobs. And I just loved her aesthetic. She'd always get me to sort of rub a foundation off. She'd get me to sort of do someone's foundation on a job, and then she'd be like, no, take it off. Don't cover up what doesn't need, covering up. And so I really learnt. So I became her first assistant, and I did that for a couple of years. And that really, pretty much every makeup job I had after that, I could trace back to Kay in some way. She was incredibly supportive. She'd put me forward to jobs that she didn't want to or couldn't do. Yeah. She never minded if I got a job off my own bat and it meant I couldn't come to a shoot with her. She was just amazing.
Wow, that's
and I was really lucky to meet
isn't
her. And she also lived 4 streets away from me, and she'd always be sent cars to come and pick her up from jobs. And she'd say to me, go and stand on the corner and I'll just scoop you up on my way back.
How marvellous. Because actually, there are loads of women out there that it's very fashionable to do this, raising other women up,
women supporting women.
Women supporting women and the sisterhood. And actually quite a lot of it is, it's absolute bollocks when you actually look at the way people behave.
It's actually very rare.
Many women are actually out for themselves. Not all of them, but there are lots who are. So it's wonderful. Yeah, that's a wonderful story.
Yeah, and it was all... There's been a lot of luck with sort of my career and the changes I've made. But I do think that I have always sort of known when to leap on an opportunity. And that's, so with Kay, I met a photographer one day he was local, and he said to me, I know a makeup artist. Have you ever heard of Kay Montano? And I said, well, funnily enough, yes, I have heard of Kay Montano. And he said, I can introduce you if you'd like. And I said, that'd be amazing. I'll do anything. I'll wash her brushes. He did put us in touch, and it turned out her assistant had left the week before.
Right.
And
so sometimes it's serendipity.
She said to me, just walk round now and come and see me. And that was that. And but that did require me sort of jump, saying to the photographer, yes, no, I definitely want to meet her. And you do just sometimes have to put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah. It's funny what you say about, so your son was like a year old.
Yeah.
And I think we do have that sometimes, like, you've birthed this human, and you're kind of like, your identity changes in that moment, doesn't it? And it's almost like you do become aware that you sort of want to create something else, a different identity for yourself, or something that can run alongside your...
I also just cared a lot less about what everyone else thought. So I was a bit like, well, does it really... Also, it's such a life-changing event. You're like, well, if I can cope with that, then I can tweak my career just ever so slightly.
So your business partner now...
Yes.
You'd known her...
She was my boss. And we were friends, and we were sitting having lunch with all the Myla girls. And I'd been a makeup artist, and I'd also started doing a bit of beauty writing by that stage. I don't know, I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. And I sat down at the lunch table, and almost immediately, it wasn't Charlotte, it was one of the other girls. There was, it's this table full of very sort of high-powered, brilliant women. Yeah. And the first thing my friend Alex said to me was, so come on, what's the latest thing? What should I be using on my skin? What am I meant to be doing? And in quite an annoying way, I said, well, to be honest, I use an oil to take my makeup off, and I use an oil to moisturize, and kind of haven't done much else for my skin for the last couple of years, and it's really never been happier. And I've started blending my own oils at home. I'd started making in a very haphazard fashion. I should, point out that little blended oils at home. I knew what my skin liked, and I'd started making them for clients. And Charlotte was sitting to my right, and she went very quiet. And she was staring at me.
Cogs were turning.
The cogs were turning in a massive way. And I thought, I knew her pretty well. I was like, what have I just said? What have I... And sure enough. She'd been wanting to do something in the beauty industry for a while. She's a serial entrepreneur. She set up Myla. She went on to set up another business. And the next thing I knew, we were in Royal China on Baker Street. And next thing I knew, she was marching me around Selfridge's Beauty Hall, asking me a million questions. And she called me the next day, and she's like, I really think we should do this. And I guess, from her point of view, she'd been thinking about the beauty industry. And then all of a sudden, I kind of landed in her lap with pretty much the product, almost to a certain extent fully formed, and I knew I had a very clear idea, and I also was in the industry, and I knew all the beauty editors,
and you had your PR days.
I had a PR background. The first 2 years I did all the PR for Votary, so.
Yeah. So can I just obviously it's very weird to Google an old friend again, stalking / research.
Very good at stalking. She calls it research.
When you say blending your own oils around your kitchen table, so is that had you always been interested in that? I mean, how do you even how do you even start even practically doing that?
It's sort of quite audacious in a way. Like I shouldn't have been doing it, really, honestly, because I didn't know what I was doing particularly. But I was always ingredients obsessed. So whenever I was given a product as a journalist or a makeup artist, the first thing I do before I even opened it was I'd whip it around and read the ingredients list. So I was self-taught. I knew what my skin liked, and I'd definitely been going down a kind of natural journey with my skincare. And I'd noticed, my clients, my makeup clients were as well. So when you're sitting in the makeup chair, you do just end up chatting about skincare and makeup for most of the time. And, clients would say to me, I've been trying this new natural nail polish, and what do you think of this? And I could just see that this is the way things were going. But the makeup I was using to do a good job was not natural.
Yeah.
The foundation that makes your skin look amazing is full of silicone.
Right. Yes.
And mineral oil and parabens and all those
polyfiller.
Yes. And so I had this sense like, well, maybe if you make your skincare as natural as possible, maybe it doesn't matter that and the SPF that you use is is full of chemicals. So maybe it doesn't matter that you then pile all that on top. So I was, and also massaging a facial oil into the skin makes your skin look amazing in that moment. It's the most sort of instant gratification thing you can do, Right. And just the very fact of massaging the skin is really beneficial. So I'd always spend, again, it was something I got from Kay, I'd spend probably half the time I had on skin. So whether that was prepping the skin, making sure it's properly clean, massaging an oil into it, and then doing the kind of base work. Because if your skin looks good,
you don't need to go covering everything.
But also it all just sort of falls into place.
Yeah.
Everything else just sort of magically.
Can I ask that? So are you talking about massaging oil before makeup is put on, or is this a bedtimey thing? Or
no, before makeup. So as a base for makeup, and most pro makeup artists will tell you the same thing. It's the best base for makeup because they're very, very lightweight.
And do you make oils that you can use for that?
Oh, absolutely,
yes.
all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there are different oils for different skin types. So if you are someone that has a little bit of oiliness in the skin, you might use our jasmine oil, which sinks into the skin really beautifully. It doesn't, but then there's some people want that glow. Some people want that glow that you get from an oil. And we have oils
because I'm
for
old.
that.
You see, I think I need that. I need the glow, I don't have the glow.
You can put a cream on top, but you massage the oil in first. They sink into the skin. They don't leave. And, the thing about a cream is that most creams are designed to sit on the surface. They're designed as a sort of barrier. Yeah. And that's when you get into trouble with your foundation. Yeah. If you're piling a foundation on top, it can slide, or you can get piling, whereas an oil doesn't do any of those things. Where people go wrong with oils is that they use too much. And you probably need 3 or 4 drops at the very most. Right. Spend a couple of minutes massaging in. That is the best base for makeup.
Right. I've cleansed my face, and then I'm ready to I massage the oil in.
Yep.
Leave it for a certain amount of time, or
you could leave it for a minute or so, but it should just... if it doesn't sink right in, then you've either used too much, or perhaps you want to tweak which oil you're using.
Right. Okay.
But it shouldn't. They sink in so beautifully, and I also always say to people, we are meant to have oil in our skin.
Yeah.
So naturally, we have lipids. That's what you call the oils in your skin, and the levels decrease as you age, like all the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Your oil levels drop, and it's really, really beneficial to the skin to replace those lost oils. And the best way of doing that is just with a natural plant oil. You're getting the highest dose. The other thing is that pure natural oils are totally stable. You don't have to add any preservatives to them. And it's only once you introduce other ingredients, you introduce water, and the thing about a cream, and don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for a cream, absolutely. But they are mostly water or other ingredients. They have the oils, so with an oil, pure oil, you're getting that, the actual thing that's doing something for your skin.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Do you know what I'm thinking as you're saying this? I've started using like a body oil, as in, on my...
That's where most people start with oils, is with a body oil.
And I'm only just making the connection now that... because and now the thought of putting like a body cream. Do you remember we all used to get body butter from the body shop?
Yeah.
Those tubs.
It's quite hard work.
Yeah,
it takes much longer.
For it to set
an oil is,
something.
an oil's routine is also the lazy girls. That's not a mistake. I am the ultimate lazy girl.
Because I am so lazy.
They're much easier.
Yeah.
So, do you do a body oil?
We do.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
of
That's
course.
all right. I just want to. If not, I was going to say what body oil should I get then? So, body oil is going to soak in better than
They're quicker.
They're gonna soak in
if you
better.
the butter that you're talking about, you sort of have to work that down,
Yes.
warm it up in the hands until it turns into an oil.
Yeah.
So just use an oil.
Everybody's talking about oils at the moment. So, and also oils for cleansing. Could you?
Yeah, well, that's really where the business began, is with our
Right.
cleansing oil. And our rose geranium cleansing oil is still our bestseller to this day. And so I firmly believe that cleansing is the most important stage of skincare.
Yeah.
It's where things can go really, really right for your skin or quite badly wrong. And that's where I always start to unpick someone's skincare routine, is when they come to me and they say, oh, I'm dry, I'm oily, I'm sensitive, any of those things. The first thing I say is, how are you cleansing?
And if they answer with the shampoo bottle in the shower, like
Yeah.
I do sometimes. And when I said that to Louise when we were talking about we were going to come and meet you, she was just like, you do what, Amy? Like just to get the
I've got really sensitive skin, so I thought.
You would never do that, right?
I use I've never used soap or anything on my.
It's a mix of
and
ignorance and laziness, like you're saying.
Cleansing has gone quite badly wrong, just generally in the last few, with the whole sort of rise of wipes, which just from an environmental point of view are horrendous.
But also, what is in that? The shit that's in those things.
A Dettol wipe brings a mascara off beautifully, Louise.
They also, most of them will sting your skin. They hurt, and you've got to trust your own skin. If it feels wrong, then it's not right, So, and anything that stings or makes your skin red, or there's a lot of research coming up now about the skin's barrier and the microbiome of the skin.
Yeah.
And anything that foams or strips the oils from your skin is going to be disrupting your barrier.
Okay.
So but at the same time, you've got to cleanse really thoroughly. And actually, using so how do you take your makeup off, Amy?
Come on, Amy.
Well,
it's a safe space.
well, no, this is fucking confessional corner, because sometimes, especially if I'm late in and
stop validating it. Just tell us how you
sometimes the next day
slovenly. Oh my good God! You don't go to bed with makeup on.
There have been times when I've done that. And
we've all done that.
Yes.
That's fine. But just dating, come on. So what's your go-to?
So I tend to use Kiehl's quite a lot, and I will sort of remove my eye makeup and stuff with an oil-based makeup remover, and
sort of cotton pads and
cotton pads, and then foam it up and lather it up with a bit of sort of facial and a flannel and warm water.
Flannel, great. I think everyone needs to use it. Actually, can I open up one of our cleansing oils?
Even if I've got because I have rosacea, sensitive skin, should I still use? Isn't it a bit rough on my face?
You just go gently and don't use too much heat.
I'm going to do an audio description now. Arabella is seductively
Also, this is classic. I'm opening it from the bottom, which is what you. Sorry, when you do it from the bottom, because then it looks like it's not open from the top, which I don't need to do, because I'm leaving this with you. This is for you. But anyway, so this is our cleansing oil. Comes with a proper flannel. Can you see that? So it's lovely. Oh, can I throw it at you?
Is there anything special about this flannel, or can I just?
It's just a really lovely
and
proper soft one. It's thick. It's gentle on the skin. So I think a flannel like that is superior to like a muslin cloth, if you've ever used those, because they're not scratchy on the skin. They also hold their heat and their shape better, so you get a more thorough cleanse, but at the same time it's more gentle, so you get that exfoliation but without sort of scratching at the skin. So they're generally fine for people with rosacea. Just be careful of the heat. I love heat. I have really hot baths and I love a really hot flannel. That would be a bit of a disaster for you. So you just sort of warm would be fine. Right. But yeah, so using an oil cleanser is really, really beneficial, because you So stage actors and actresses have used cleansing oils backstage for years. That is how to get off makeup off the skin without stressing the skin out.
Right.
It lifts it all beautifully. You just massage a few drops. So take a few pumps in the palm of your hand, massage it into your skin. At the last minute, go into your eye makeup because it's amazing at taking mascara off. You have big panda eyes, wring the flannel out, have a really good steam, just wipe it all away. And, the evidence is on the flannel. You can see that you've got all your makeup up. I always talk about the clean towel test. You should be able to pat your face dry after you've cleansed. There should be nothing on it. No mascara, no little bits of brown mark, nothing. No. You've got to get your skin properly clean, but without drying it out. And that's what a cleansing oil can do.
So you use a cleansing oil and cleanse that way.
Yeah.
And then, like at the moment, I use a cleansing cream.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I use a toner. But
what sort of, is it got some actives in it? Do you know?
I've got no idea what it's a range called Aven.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Which is
so good for sensitive skin. It's the French pharmacy brand, isn't it? Yeah.
But so would you after? But going back to this oil. So let's say we've used your oil, or we've used an oil for cleansing. Then what?
Then you'd go in with a serum So the benefits of getting your skin properly clean is benefits in a few ways. Firstly, you're not going to break out. You're not going to get congested skin. Your skin's not going to look dull. If you're not getting all your makeup off and all your SPF, your skin's just going to start getting a build up. So you get that kind of amazing glow just purely from got your skin really clean, lifted all the dead skin cells away, particularly as we're aging, that's the way to exfoliation is really key.
Right.
But also, when you've got your skin properly clean and got all those dead skins away, you've got an amazing surface now for your active ingredients. They're going to absorb and penetrate the skin. So that's also why cleansing is really important, because it allows your active ingredients to do their job properly.
Right.
They can sink into the skin really beautifully. So that's when you'd go in, just as you say, with your serum. And I've got something for you here today. I've got our Super Seed serum.
Not like a toner then. You just clean with the oil. That's all you need is the oil then.
In terms of cleaning, yes. Yeah, you could.
Then...
It depends if you've got a lot of makeup on. You could double cleanse.
Yeah.
Just use the same product. You don't need two different products to double cleanse.
And you just do that process again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just repeat it. Honestly, if you're not wearing makeup,
you don't need
to double cleanse.
But if you've got a load of makeup on,
so you might want to. Again, ultimate lazy girl. I don't really, my skin gets clean enough with it doing just a thorough single cleanse.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
So yes, it depends on your skin and what it needs. But if your toner has active ingredients, and that would go next, or a serum. I don't really believe in more than a 3-step routine particularly. You can cleanse, you use some kind of active ingredient, and then you need to moisturize.
If you've not got a massive budget, which of those 3 stages would you say to invest more in? And so rather than
cleanse,
a good cleanse,
honestly, because if you get your cleanse right, everything else will be okay. And the other thing to say is, our oils last a really long time. Going back to that thing about, you just drop,
just a drop,
loads. Yeah. So we've cleansed.
You've cleansed.
I'm talking about bedtime now.
Yeah. So let's do nighttime. So you've cleansed. You've got a really lovely clean surface on the skin. Your skin's all lovely and glowing. You then go in with your active ingredient. That could be a serum. It could be a toner. What I mean by an active ingredient is, I can tell you what we use. So we use things like hyaluronic acid or glycolic acid, and they do different things. So hyaluronic hydrates the skin. It's a water binding ingredient, so it plumps the skin. Glycolic is a sort of natural exfoliant. You might want an antioxidant in there to help again, sort of combat free radical damage. If you've got any kind of pigmentation, you might want a brightening ingredient, and all of these things are available from natural sources. That's the amazing thing. So you then use some kind of active depending on what your skin needs. So that's when it's really important to know your own skin. What's your particular skin concern? Is it that it's sensitive? Is it that it's a bit dull? Is it feeling really dry?
Everything. I'm just old.
This proves that you can get a bespoke.
Yes.
You need a bespoke sort of skincare. It's not really one size all fits all. We've all got different skin, haven't we?
We've all got different skin, and my skin changes daily. It changes seasonally. It changes hormonally. So what I use one morning is different to what I use in the evening, and then week to week it changes. And I'm constantly assessing my skin every morning. Wake up and say, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on today?"
Right.
Yeah. So that's when your serum comes in.
Yeah.
Then you'd follow with an oil. So if we're nighttime, we have an amazing night oil. Yes, exactly. If you're particularly dry, then you might seal that all in with a cream.
Right.
So cream oil. So that's when you might want your fourth step.
Right.
But always oil first.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So oil to moisturise. And then in the morning, so I cleanse properly in the evenings, but in the morning I just splash my face with water. Should I do the whole thing again in the morning?
Well,
I suppose so, because I've got to get all that stuff
here's
off.
what I always say. I don't always do a cleanse in the morning because that's just...
I just get in the shower and I've got all...
It's too much. I the mornings are crazy in my house, and so there's not always time. However, my skin benefits when I do make the time.
Would be...
It definitely, when I make the time to do it, my skin benefits. And so if you can make time for a morning cleanse, the thing is that at night, your skin does most of the hard work, the sort of regeneration. That's when it does a lot of the shedding of the dead skin cells. I also, nighttime is when I tend to use maybe slightly more rich products. And so you might want to kind of think about getting that off the skin the next morning if they haven't sort of all sunk in.
Right.
To give yourself a really nice clean base for your makeup.
Yes.
So
ideally,
yes, the thing is, basically, yes, you should do a cleanse in the morning is the answer.
Okay.
Sadly.
And then, so we do the same thing again. The cleanse, put on a with the oil.
Yeah. You might use a different serum.
Yeah.
So at night you might use something. I don't know, sort of in the morning I would tend to use something that's going to have more of an instant impact to my skin. So that's when I might use my kind of hyaluronic or something like that to kind of plump up and give a bit of a glow.
Right.
At night, that's when I might use, I don't know, the glycolic, which you'd find in our toning serum, because that's a sort of, the skin can then do its overnight kind of exfoliation and regeneration using that ingredient.
Right, okay. Will you jot these points down for us so as I can put them in the episode
I'm going to
notes?
give you a routine.
Thank you, okay. And then we use a moisturiser. Why can't I just have one moisturiser for day and one for night? Could I use the same oil?
Yep, you can use the same oil. The only... time you might not in terms of a Votary routine is that we have a night oil that has a retinoid in it. Right. So for my skin, an oil followed by an SPF followed potentially by some foundation, or tinted moisturizer, whatever I'm using, that's massive for my skin. I would not want to add a cream into that scenario.
No.
However, we do have a cream, and that's for men that have really dry and dehydrated skin. So they'd use the oil, they put a bit of cream on top, help seal it all in, get a bit of barrier against the elements. Then you'd go in with your SPF. And that's also why the cleansing's really important, because SPF and makeup have been designed to stick to your skin.
Yeah, of course.
And I always say, just don't underestimate their ability.
Yeah. And also, you've
in that regard,
my question about with makeup. I kind of have that sort of I don't give a shit if it's not all natural ingredients, because when I'm putting foundation on, I want it to do the thing I want it to do, which is to look good.
Yeah.
But you said earlier about, okay, if we accept that that's what foundation has to have all of that stuff in it, then...
And just at least take it off.
Yeah. Cleansing and moisturising with more natural things that aren't going to be stripping. It sounds like, it makes my cheeks hurt.
Yeah, but I grew up in the 80s with the sort of 3-step routine of the kind of foaming cleanser and then the alcohol-filled toner, and it was all about that squeaky clean feel on the skin. Yeah. And I think what's really nice about the last few years is that's been turned on its head.
Yeah. Can I ask you about facials as well? Because I just don't have time to go and get a facial done.
Neither do I.
Okay, so first of all, that was going to be my question. Do I just have to go, if you want your skin to look amazing, you have to, Louise? Or is there something, do you think they're necessary if I'm doing this every day? Or is there something I can do at home?
Yeah, do it at home. If you don't have time. I mean, that's what look, we have Votary facials. We can have an amazing Votary Superseed facial that you can go and get in Liberties.
Yeah.
But I don't even have time to go and get one of those.
They are lovely.
I am someone that I love. I love being touched. I love a massage. I love a facial. That for me, that's a very
treat, isn't it? It's like a nice
positive experience. There are some people that hate it.
You see, I don't like it.
If you don't like it, for goodness sake, don't go. If it makes you want to tear your hair out and feel awful, don't go. It should be a lovely thing. Yeah. And you can absolutely do it at home. It's just a matter of taking. If you think about the steps of a facial, it's taking the time. So maybe you would do that double cleanse. Maybe you take a fresh face cloth for each time you cleanse, that kind of a thing. You take 20 minutes to do your skincare routine once a week and you'll see the benefit.
Yeah. And do you do a facial that you can do at home then? Or is it just the one that you have to go to Liberty's for?
No, absolutely. You can totally do a Votary routine, and it's just about, honestly, it's just about the time.
It is just,
you can, with all the products are there for you, and it's just about taking the time. However, if you're someone that enjoys that experience of going for a facial.
Yeah. I mean, if I enjoyed it, it'd be different. But I'm just
for
like,
your birthday or something.
It makes me frustrated because I'm like, this is taking an hour and I've got things to do. And if I really liked it, I wouldn't mind.
You'd make time for it.
But I'm just like, come on, let's just be. But
the massage that a properly trained therapist can give you is incredibly beneficial. But you can go, stand in front of your bathroom mirror and spend 5 minutes massaging your facial on it, which you probably wouldn't do.
No, I don't.
So take the time.
Okay.
Have a Sunday spa day.
Okay, I will. On your website, you've got questions that you can go through.
Oh yes, find your routine
to establish what products are going to work for you, because you were saying just now, Amy, about how this is like it's not one size fits all. So people can go in, and I didn't go through the whole process, but you should be able to.
It's quite short, isn't it? I think it's 3 questions.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was loads.
She's very short of time.
I just said to you, I haven't got time for this.
Got no time for this.
Okay, fine.
So I'll go. You can go through that, and then.
We will sort of, the algorithm will spit out the other end a suggested routine for your skin. And but if you're new to the brand, I always say to people, start with the cleansing oil.
Right.
If someone's coming to the brand for the first time, they don't know where to start, I hand them the cleansing oil and I say to them, just go home and take your makeup off with this tonight.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they come back the next day and they're like, oh my God, I had no idea. And then they're hooked. And then they start saying, oh, what should I do next? Is it the serum? Is it the oil? Is it,
That speaks to your earlier point. If you're going to invest in one thing to begin with, it's the cleansing.
It's the most transformational thing you can do for your skin, getting your cleanse right, for sure.
Okay, well, that leads us nicely into the other question about other things that you can do, making sure that you have enough sleep and your diet and things like that.
Yeah, sleep. I mean, I'm not getting it. Are you getting enough?
Never.
I'm getting loads because my kids are all grown up now, and I really prioritise it. Like I back time now, so that I get 8 hours sleep, every night. So just rubbing that in.
Well,
so we approach sleep from 2 angles. We have a night range, but that's kind of split into 2, and there's the aromatherapy side, which there's a lot of chat about aromatherapy at the moment, about how it's having a bit of a resurgence. I'm not quite sure where that's come from, but I just seem to be giving a lot of interviews at the moment about aromatherapy, and I'm really careful about we don't make any sort of medical claims ever when it comes to aromatherapy. And in fact, I never make any claims about what an essential oil can do for your skin either. We use them in some of our products for fragrance, but it's not about any benefit they're going to give your skin. It's about the aromatherapy, the fragrance side of things. But there is no doubt, it is a fact that our sense of smell is very strongly linked to our memory. And therefore, it can have a really meaningful impact on your emotion. So if you're someone that, you link lavender to, relaxing or some kind of childhood memory, then there is no doubt that will help you sleep. So that is where it has some kind of science basis, is when it comes to memory.
Yeah.
And it has a really strong impact on your emotions. So we have this pillow spray, which is unbelievably popular. Men love it, kids love it. It's just one of those really lovely things. And there's a candle and there's a body oil, and that's all about sort of helping you set the scene for sleep. And then we have our hard-working skincare side of it, which is the oil and the eye oil, which is about helping you cheat it if you haven't slept, which is a bit more realistic. So that's when you sort of say, well, hang on, just make sure you're using, skincare with ingredients that's going to make your skin look amazing when you wake up. And then maybe it doesn't matter if you've only had 4 hours sleep.
Yes, a couple of eye drops in just to
eye drops are great. Always used to have those in my kit as a makeup artist. Always have eye drops in the kit because it's amazing what difference it's like making your eyes look kind of bright. And
never used eye drops.
Well, you're getting your 8 hours, Louise. You don't need your eye drops, do you? In
an article somewhere, you said that good brows and eyelashes will go a long way. So I have my eyebrows threaded, and it's a thing I always find time for. So I know, I've not the facials, but the eyebrow threading. However, eyelash extensions I did for a few months after a few months they just didn't retain the same staying power.
Yeah, also, if you've got eyelash extensions, you can't use the Votary cleansing oil. So what I can give that cleansing oil to anyone, any skin type, any age, any sex. The only people I can't give it to are people that have eyelash extensions because it's so effective. It just shows you how effective it is. It will break down the glue.
Really?
Yes.
And they will start to fall out. So I don't wear it.
No.
I don't have time to, it takes 2 hours to have eyelash extensions.
I know,
again.
because I was having to go every 10 to 14 days and sit there for 2 hours to have it. And I was just like, no, this is getting ridiculous.
So as a makeup artist, I would always use those sort of little temporary ones of sort of doing a makeup job. Yes. So if you've got a special occasion, if you're getting married, if you've got some big event or something where you're going to have your picture taken, there's no doubt that kind of emphasising the top lash line makes a big difference in photographs.
Right.
But you can totally cheat that with a really great volumizing mascara.
Right. Okay.
Day to day.
Yeah. All right then. With foundation as well, is it just a case of trudging around the department store and getting a sample of everything and taking it home and having a go? Is there anything though, just to sort of I'm all about saving time, obviously. Is there any particular brand that is particularly good for like my age, like 50? Yeah.
I have one foundation that I recommend time and time again, and I'm not paid by them. No. But I use it myself and I recommend, and I've never had a sort of bad report back. It was the Nars Tinted Moisturizer.
Right. Okay.
It's amazing. It's more than a tinted moisturizer. You for me, it's enough coverage, you get the coverage. It has an SPF 30 in it. You shouldn't rely on, by the way. It's a sort of belt and bracelet. You should still put your SPF on underneath.
Right.
But great that it's there, and it just gives the skin this amazing glow. That lasts as well, because quite often those glowy foundations, they don't last, and it's the sort of dry ones, but it lasts throughout the day. Fabulous. It's a great one.
Do you think there's a red lipstick for everyone? And again, this is like a personal thing, because you always look great and you've always got a lovely red lipstick.
Got great
this is a brand new red, and I just went into MAC and I tried maybe 8 or 9
Which
different.
one's that? Is that one of the classics?
This is it Ruby Woo? Ruby Woo in the middle, but then the liner is Cherry Pop or something like that. But there's a bit of
I can't find one that's
tinkering. It's like buying the perfect pair of jeans. You've got to you've got to have a panic attack in the changing room if you're going to find what you're sort of.
But I wonder do you know what I really find as I've got older? Is for a start, I can't wear mascara coming around here today because the cold wind in this time of year.
So why couldn't you wear it?
Because my eyes water in the cold wind.
So you should try a tubing mascara. So it's not actually a waterproof mascara, but it quite literally sort of coats the lashes. And when you take it off, when you remove it, it's quite weird because you get little sort of piling, little plasticky bits come off. So it's not like it doesn't smudge.
Right. Okay. So, would you say that as you get older, you look better with less makeup?
Yes, I would say so.
So that's okay. I can just
definitely. And you've got to reassess your face. We've talked about daily, but every couple of years, I'm like, I'm not sure that doesn't really work. I've noticed my sort of eyes. Your eyelids start to drop, don't they? And you have to completely readjust how you do your eye makeup. You have to think, now I need to kind of fake that little lift a little bit and go over the crease Right. So you do need to reassess it. But yes, there's totally a red lipstick for you. But at the same time, if you're self-conscious in it, why do it to yourself? Like, don't bother just because you sort of think, just because Amy looks amazing in hers.
No, it's funny because as I was putting my makeup on this morning, and obviously I knew that we were meeting you, so I'm kind of like, I won't do the Tide Mark look today. I'll actually blend that a little bit. It took a bit more time. But as I was thinking, I am channeling kind of China doll drag queen baby, but I was kind of like, it's just because I'm not used to seeing this much colour on my face normally. So the thing that I was going to say to you is if you've got used to seeing you with quite nude tones, all of a sudden you put a lip on and it's kind of like,
you don't feel like yourself.
But if you met somebody in the street who you'd never met before, they'd be like, wow, that looks amazing. It's just because you're not used to seeing it.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And you sort of have to practice it a little bit, don't you? So if you think you'd like to try a red lip because you like that look, then just start doing it. And then all of a sudden it won't feel weird.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You just got to, like, the next time you go out with your girlfriends, wear a red lip and it'll get easier.
Yeah. And Paul bought me a lovely one for Christmas, didn't you? You went and did some research into it.
I did. I walked straight in. I knew what I wanted. I said, red, please.
Actually, that's a really good point. Men's skincare. What would you say about men's
let's talk about
skincare?
men.
Do you do a men's range, or is it again?
Votary is unisex.
Right.
It has been. I mean, my aesthetic is a little bit unisex, and so it's quite a kind of clean looking product, and I think that appeals to men just in terms of the aesthetics of it. But I don't think men's skin is any different to women's particularly. They've got different challenges, with sort of whether they're shaving or anything like that. But using an oil after you've shaved is amazing as a sort of instead of an aftershave. That men love our Superseed Nutrient Cream because it goes matte onto the skin. Lots of men use our cleansing oils to shave with. Men can use any of our products.
Yeah.
I don't distinguish between the two necessarily.
What do you wash your face with, Paul?
Soap.
Is it just soap?
Yes.
Yeah, but you put a Nivea moisturizer on, don't you?
And sometimes, if
I'm allowed to say that, aren't I?
When I start cracking and bleeding,
God!
probably some attention's needed here.
I think I know the answer to this question. Your views on sort of Botox surgery, all that sort of stuff. What's your
my view on it is that people should feel free to do what is right for them. I don't make any judgment on it at all. I've got masses of friends that do Botox, and we talk about it quite freely. I haven't done it myself yet. ... It's a funny thing, like fronting a skincare brand and being in your 40s. I don't know how I'm gonna. I have to have my picture taken and do filming on a regular basis, and I really I want to just age and see. I'm quite interested to see what happens to my face, quite honestly. Bit of a sort of science project. I'm not planning on it anytime soon, but I also, if I suddenly wanted to one day, I really hope I'd feel free to just go and do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, so much for your time, and we'll put all the links up in the show notes. And would you be able to give us a little breakdown?
Yes, definitely a little kind of routine.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
Please rate, review, and subscribe. And thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Made by darkhorse digital.co.uk. Shooting, live streaming and